mean, how are you going to do something if you're in the pocket of directly responsible?
I do. That was not really on purpose, but.
This one, the cat ran down the street. It didn't crawl up and swing on a line. It ran down the street. People. Now, I remember when I was bringing up things that they've already fired. Right? You know, I remember when I was talking to one of the activists, you know, on their knees for the rich man, told me you guys are burning tables and you're not being able to get at the table with people. I'm like, I don't want to be at the table with these filthy beasts. They're monsters. There's something in it. I was occasionally. I actually respect Taliban, but I thought Afghanistan was better than these people. At least they believe that's probably not the traditional slum party. Listen to things. Right. Gonna go and put activists. Yeah. Got some of that red bomb.
I'll call the meeting to order. It's properly posted on February 7th. Commissioner Bloomer, Brian Mon, and Miles Davidson are present. I will lead us in the prayer and pledge. Heavenly Father, thank you for this opportunity to get together and conduct people's business. We'll ask that your guiding hand be on our decisions as well as on the actions of county employees today, and ask for your safety. In your name, amen.
And to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice.
Okay, the request of the purchasing agent is that we strike number 1.
I'll move to strike.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On item number 2, this is what we had discussed back in January. Is there any body that wants to speak on this, Michael?
Yeah, originally when we spoke about this January 31st, the deadline for the report was that day, with assumptions that we would not have to clarify until April's filing of reports. But the computer will not allow me to submit this report without this being answered either yes or no. Now, I have found that in NACO's items that they allow you to defer choice of claiming standard revenue loss allowance if a county has not decided whether or not to receive the standard allowance. Treasury will not commit the county to the reported choice in the January 31 report. So with that, I'm just asking today if I can mark yes or no on the report to get it finalized. And then they allow us up to April to determine if we actually want the allowance or not.
So we can mark, you can mark no on this quarter or this month's report. And then on the next report, we can mark yes.
According to guidelines today.
Okay.
Knowing how many times the guidance changed on CARES and how many times it's changed on this, my preference would say, well, let's mark it yes. And if we don't want it, we can mark it no in April.
But if you mark it yes today, is that us officially filing for the $10 million in allowed revenue loss?
Well, the guidelines doesn't reference that. It talks about allowing the choice and the Treasury will not commit the county to the reported choice in January. So to today's guidelines, yeah, if we mark it no, they're saying in April, we can come back and mark that yes.
Okay. Do you all have a preference?
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna, in April, we'll make that decision.
Right.
So I think marking no right now is no harm,
Okay.
no foul. If, I mean, that just gives us plenty of time to change that later, so.
Okay.
I mean, that's one of the things that Joe and I and Michael have been discussing
Right.
in those meetings, so.
Right. Okay. Then I will move that we give the chair's office authority to mark no on this month's report, and we can revisit this again when the next report is due in April.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
On items 3 and 4, I would move that we carry those over to tomorrow's meeting because, and the reason we're having to have one tomorrow, we thought we hit upload on the document. It was late coming to us before the closure of the winter storm, and it did not upload. And so it consequently was cut off for making this agenda. So I apologize. It was a human error. It's not a technical error or anything with the clerk's office. It was from me not getting it uploaded successfully. So that they are fairly all considered together, I would move that we defer them over to tomorrow's meeting.
Or
Actually, can we do that, Madam DA?
Or you're not be able to change it.
Oh, are they? Okay, we maybe, all right.
so
Okay.
all four are on tomorrow's agenda.
So we don't need to take action on these. Would be my recommendation where we can fairly look at each of the proposals from the attorney law firms, so.
Okay.
And I, again, apologize.
Okay. So do you want to strike?
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay. I'll move to strike items 3 and 4.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Madam DA.
My apologies, commissioners. I'd like to actually request to strike item 5. I made an error in preparing the agenda item with reference to the requisition. That should have been issued to TASA Group, not OSS. Item 6 is good.
Okay, so is there a motion to strike 5?
I'll move to strike item 5.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then do you want to approve item 6?
Motion to approve item 6.
I'll second if there's a second button on my, okay, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
And then the sheriff, I think Mr. Baston's here. Maybe with a special guest.
I do have a special guest. This is the highway safety grant application only. It just gives me the authority to do the application online and the chairman to go ahead and certify the application. Once it's completed, the final award will be, I'll bring it back before the BOCC for consideration and approval at that time.
Can you, this funds 2 officers, correct? Can you
It
remind
does.
us which ones those are?
Yeah, they're traffic safety educators that actually go to schools and different venues and educate us to distracted driving, alcohol related, and then speed enforcement, that sort of deal.
Is there a motion?
And we've done this program for quite a while, right?
Since 1997.
I'll move approval on item 7.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Commissioner comments, District 1?
Congratulations to our newly re-elected Mayor Holt. And then if you all did not see, there was a pretty large apartment complex up at 63rd and Western that was getting ready to open. It had hundreds of units, and it unfortunately caught fire last night, and it's a total loss. And it's really unfortunate to see. I know that the developers worked really hard on that and put a lot of money into it. And from what I've been told, the fire suppression system was not online yet. And if the fire suppression system had been online, the building may not have burned quite like that. So it's unfortunate.
Three.
No, thank you.
Yeah, congratulations to the mayor and congratulations to Sarah Bannon for
Oh.
winning her city council seat. Okay, before we go into executive session, we've had a number of citizens asked to speak. It's all right, we'll go ahead and do that so they don't have to wait through executive session. Christopher Johnston.
I'm pretty sure you all know why we're here. That article with the 4-minute long audio clip of Greg Williams and his compadre praising a virus that's killed many people. One that's killed multiple people that I know. When I spoke with the media, I talked about my cousin who couldn't get in a hospital bed. She was having complications with her birth. Child's dead. Umbilical cord wrapped around the neck because of a virus that is a blessing to this county jail. My dad's best friend, he was one of those never vaccination people. He's dead now, choked on his own lungs because of this virus. But it's such a lucrative venture. That's the people who you guys have responsibility for. You put the jail trust, and they hired Mr. Williams. You guys are responsible for that. You guys have to take action. I'm going to quote Mr. John Adams, President John Adams. Facts are stubborn things, and whenever they be our wishes, our inclinations, or the dictates of our passions, they cannot alter the state of facts or evidence. Doesn't matter how many people try to spin this and say, we're good to go, and everything like that. That audio explains criminal contempt. And you guys ever study RICO? That's how we locked up the mob. It was by audio clips. For tax evasion, for much less things than this. He needs to be fired. Everybody responsible needs to be let go. And I'm calling on the district attorney and anybody else involved to file charges on people. There is enough evidence to put people behind prison bars. I don't care if they've got their family and they're going to beg you. They've allowed people to suffer and die long enough, and they're wasting our taxpayers' money. It's time we do something, and you all have to do something right now, not tomorrow, right now, and it needs to be on the agenda. The trust needs to be dissolved. More people die with less population than when the sheriff's office was in charge. From 1999 to 2019, we lost an average of 6 to 7 people. I didn't make those numbers up. DOJ obtained those. Now we lose upwards of 13 to 16 people per year. This experiment's failed. Take action now. Dissolve the trust. It needs to be on the next agenda.
Mark Falk.
Tell the rich billionaires to go to hell.
I don't want to be up here talking about this. I never in my wildest dreams imagined that a human being could say COVID is our friend, or that the person he was talking to would say COVID has been wonderful to us. That's Greg Williams. Mark Opgran, the pandemic is the greatest thing that ever happened to us. And you know why he said that. Because they went on to talk about the money they've already received and the $150 million that they hope to receive. And then they said again, COVID is our friend. And they laughed and they repeated it multiple times. And at one point, Opgran said, maybe you should say that in your presentation to the jail trust. Ha, ha, ha. This is not funny. COVID is not our friend. 40 years ago, we had the largest county commissioner scandal in the history of the United States. We convicted 110 out of 231 of our sitting county commissioners. Nothing has changed. This is business as usual. This is the people that you hired. The people that you hired
joking about the deaths of 6 million people worldwide. If they think it's funny, and if they think COVID is our friend because we got money from it, how the hell do you think they have the ability or the compassion or the strength or the morality to oversee the lives of nearly 2,000 people in the county jail? If they don't, I mean, they laughed about the deaths in the jail. They said 3 people died. Oh, yeah, well, we heard that somebody in California died in a car wreck and they called it COVID, which is a lie, a right-wing extremist lie. So if they don't care about the lives of an entire world that has suffered for 2 years, and they only think it's a money grab, a greedy money grab, do you trust them to oversee the lives of people who are sitting in that jail and dying at least once a month? We don't trust them. They need to go. If you all want to keep your credibility and your jobs, it is time to step up. If they worked for any corporation in the country, they would be fired immediately. And I mean immediately. What they said was inexcusable. They may come to you and say, we were misquoted. Well, the audio tape's out there. They were not misquoted. Word for word, that is what they said. If you listen to that and you didn't lie awake like I did last night, then you don't have a heart either. I like to think that you do. And I like to think that as many times as we've warned you over the months in the last year and a half, that finally now you're going to go, wow, you guys were right. These people don't care about the lives in the county jail. Greg Williams is unfit to serve. He is unfit to serve. So all I want to say is that, COVID is the friend of the rich and the powerful. COVID has been the greatest thing to ever happen to people who want to steal money from the taxpayers while the rest of us suffer. But for the rest of the world, COVID is not our friend. And Greg Williams is not someone who has any business running our county jail and making jokes about death.
Sean Cummings.
Morning, everybody. Happy to be here. Not really. Someone is always listening is what I would throw out there. There's always a mic on. There's always a hot mic. And that's when we find out what people are truly like, right? That's what we find out. These 2 guys were trying to dupe a French reporter that wanted to come see the jail, laughing about duping him by saying they don't have to let anybody in because of COVID. COVID is our friend. COVID is our friend. Both of them back and forth with this whole thing. What I want to know out of you 3 is, how are both of them still employed? How do they still have a job today? Not resigned. I haven't seen a message from any of you. Have any of you made a comment on this publicly? Was it vicious? Because that tape was vicious. I've been in politics my whole life. My family's been in it for 1,000 years. That's the most disingenuous crap I've ever heard in my entire life. So here's how it goes. The greatest thing that ever happened to us, it built an excuse to keep the media out. COVID is wonderful for us. The jail received $10 million in CARES Act funding. Op grant, and maybe we'll get $150 million. COVID is our friend. Again, we've all got so much money out of this and only 3 people died. And then there was a cute little back and forth over whether it was 3 people or 4 people. How in the hell do they still have a job? Have you all called for the resignation? Did you call for the resignation? You're my representative. Did you call for it? I didn't vote for you. You were gerrymandered when all of you voted to get rid of the village. I've got you now. So let's talk about you representing me and representing the village, okay? Just you and I talking here. As my new commissioner, which I did not vote for, I was forced to get you, by gerrymandering, I want on the next agenda from you a vote to dissolve the trust. Whether it goes through or not, I don't care. I want you to do it. I want you to demand the resignation of Jim Couch, who cannot run the jail trust. It's horrible. I want you, my commissioner, to ask for the resignation of Greg Williams. And if he doesn't do it, fire him. ask for the resignation of Mark Opbrand. And if he doesn't do it, fire him. Look, there's two people running against you. Two. If you don't get a fire under you and start representing me and the village, which you took by your vote, we're going to work against you. That's my idle threat. That's for real. All right, this is BS. I can't believe none of you have done anything. This sucks.
Councilwoman Banna?
Come to my house asking for votes. Their last time.
I'd like to submit this article by non-doc for the record. If you haven't yet read the non-doc article or listened to the audio, I really encourage you to do so. I do second that we need more equitable, adamant representation. This is absolutely unacceptable. Greg Williams needs to immediately resign. It is bewildering to me that he has not yet himself stepped up with dignity, with humility, and submitted his own resignation. Both men, Opbrand and Greg, need to go. I've sat here over and over again over the past two years, listened to you guys hand out cookies to Greg and what a wonderful human being he is and how ethical he is and how moral he is. And he's the best guy to have sent into that county jail to change cultures, policies, practices, and patterns of misconduct. This is not the man you put this type of leadership. I'm also asking for you to immediately withdraw your request to the Oklahoma State Legislature for the funding. You heard the confession. It's on tape. The very fraud and the very scheme we've been coming here and expressing to you all. The concern has been that this has been a money grab. And now you have them on tape talking about the fact that they know that they're willingly, with intent, conspiring against the public interest of the county residents. I'm disgusted. I literally am disgusted. And yes, I was up till 3 a.m. listening to that tape over and over again, like I do so many nights watching body cam footages of officers who are caught in misconduct. That tape is what it is. It is evidence. And you need to act upon it now. And I don't want you to deflect and say, go to the jail trust because that's who hired Greg Williams. Because the three, well, not you, but the two of you, along with Commissioner Calvi, took it up on yourselves to skip out on taking the creation of the trust to a vote of the people and handed over the authority to the jail trust. So yes, you do have responsibility in that. So we are again asking for the immediate withdrawal of the ask for the ARPA funds from the Oklahoma legislature. We are immediately asking for the resignation or the firing of Greg Williams and Mr. Opbrand. And we are furthermore asking for immediate indictments of the crimes and the criminals in this county.
Ms. Baker?
I wanted to personally speak with Carrie, simply because we did have a meeting a few months back. I felt like it was a very positive meeting when I left. We talked about how we agreed that, and from my understanding, you also agreed that we didn't need a bigger jail. You also agreed that you didn't agree with mental health being connected to the jail. However, during this time, you have voted and agreed on both of those things. You sit over areas such as Forest Park, Midwest City, Dale City, Spencer. These ARPA funds that you guys are receiving are funds that could be going strictly and directly to the areas that you sit over to help with economic growth and development. There was a lot of small business owners in these cities that have been affected by COVID, that are Black and brown, that you are in charge of, and you are allowing these communities to be suppressed all for a county jail that you know has been at it has been in a standard of just disgrace from the very beginning. And to turn around and be someone who is asking for our votes, asking for us to believe in you. We came here and fought for you last year. I pulled young protesters, activists, leaders, we all did, to come and support you so that your voice would be heard, so that they wouldn't railroad you. And you're railroading your own community. And that's disgusting to me because I see these young people that are still on your campaign and they don't even know that they are being deprived financial resources that could go into their schools, could go into their neighborhoods, could go into after school programs for them. But instead, you want to go along with criminalizing mental illness when you know Oklahoma has some of the highest numbers of citizens that suffer from mental illness. What are you doing? Where do you stand? What do you stand on? Was it just convenient to have a bunch of young people that were lively and wanted to make a change come and support you to be your backbone in your moment? Because that's what it feels like. And then it feels like you have just dismissed us to the side like it doesn't mean anything. There are elderly people in Spencer whose homes have been ruined because of natural disasters, flooding, rivers backing up, living in mold. ARPA funding helps with the reconstruction of their homes. They would qualify for that. How are you not their biggest advocate? How are you not pushing for the Black and brown community, the same community that you wrote your letter for Julius Jones to applaud us and for us to applaud you for having our backs? You should feel ashamed. I expect this from them. I didn't expect it from you. And it's disappointing because even as a woman in your position, you have been railroaded and silenced. So you know what it feels like. You know what it feels like to be gaslighted. You know what it feels like to make it seem like nobody cares. And you have yet to do, you've done the same thing to the very people that you stand over, that you're in charge of. You should be ashamed of yourself. If you don't do better, we will make sure you're not sitting in that position.
Any other citizens to speak? Is there a motion to recess into executive session?
I'll move we recess.
Second.
All in favor say aye.
Aye. Tell me again what I want.
Okay, is there a motion to return to regular session?
Move, second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Is there action on item 9?
I'll move we proceed as discussed.
Second?
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Any other citizens to be heard? Is there a motion to adjourn?
I'll move we adjourn.
Second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay.